Hey guys, welcome back to the oldest man segment of Some Magical Story Time, where I'll read all of those stories. And story number 6 in this section is Son of the Oldest Man, which we're going to get right into reading. Here we go. Jack Keynes was the quarter-blood son of Fairy Illyria and half-blood Milton Keynes, which made him roughly twice as powerful as he ought to be, considering his parentage. He was also the grandson of Sirius, Darla and Chronica, and Stephen Keynes. This meant he held the power of time magic in his blood, as inherited from his father, who had inherited it in turn from his mother. Jack was now 12 years old, and was well on his way to joining the TCTF as one of their agents, so he was on the track of destiny to become the TCTF's next agent of time, meaning his further education in Fairyland would be with TCTF Academy as a cadet to be trained as an agent. However, he'd be starting their new level 3 course, which meant he would begin at 18 and graduate from it after 6 years, and would first be ranked up to an officer for the force, which would promote him to their officer of time. He was on a school trip with the to the Fairy Council offices, which he was most fascinated by. Their guide was an officer of the Fairy Code Task Force named Fizzleblitz, who had worked for the force since she was 531, which was roughly only 5 years earlier. Jack thought she should have been an agent by this time, but learned it was after at least 5 years of working as an officer that a member of the force could be promoted to senior officer, and at least 10 for a potential promotion to agent in normal circumstances. Given yours, Jack, my boy, you'll most likely skip 3 ranks and get agent straight away. Your dad did, she told him. Jack was stunned to learn this and admired his father more deeply than before. She took the tour group through the lowest offices in the council, which were the offices of fairy maintenance and sanitation, for which fairies worked to keep Fairyland clean and up to code. It was headed by Commissioner Tang Tang, and didn't need much qualification to work as an officer of this department. You could even enter these offices with no qualifications whatsoever, she told them. Jack couldn't imagine anyone in his class wanting to work in these offices. Next, Fizzleblitz showed them around the second lowest department in the council, the offices of mischief and pest control, for which they'd need to hold the qualifications of mischief mastery and the pest control certificate. It was headed by Chief Knave Buzzard for the Mischief Division and Captain Dustbuster for the Pest Control Division. Sprites and red pixies were considered household pests in Fairyland. Jack was pleased to meet the officers and heads of this department. After a snack break in the cafeteria, Fizzleblitz took the group on a tour of the third lowest department of the council, the offices of Charity and Orphan Housing, which was headed by Chief Flutterwings for the whole department, and officers here required qualifications in real estate and just a general caring attitude for charity. Jack thought this should be a higher department. After lunch, Fizzleblitz showed the group around the 4th highest department of the council, the offices of Fairy Housing, nature and conservation, which required officers to hold qualifications in fairy real estate, horticulture, agriculture, and forestry, and headed by Dr. Fizzledrizzle for everything in the department. This actually caught the interest of quite a few twinklers, especially Twilight Glitterbling, Dr. Fizzledrizzle's granddaughter. Next, Fizzleblitz showed them the third highest department in the council, the offices of fairy education where Illyria worked. It housed the offices of primary, secondary and tertiary fairy education, which was headed by Angel Wings for primary, Professor Shimmering for secondary, and Illyria herself for tertiary. And she was its founder. Officers in this department required qualifications and experience teaching either of the first two levels, which he knew she once taught primary fairy education before he was born. Mother and son were very pleased to see each other. Then Fizzleblitz showed them the second highest department at the council, the offices of fairy law enforcement, which required officers to be qualified in all aspects of fairy law, which housed the Fairyland Law Firm, the Darkness Patrol Unit, Fairyland Courtrooms, and the Fairy Code Task Force, where she worked as an officer alongside Milton, who was their agent of time, and was working through his case files to get them in order before accepting his next mission for the Force. And finally, she took them to visit the highest officers of the council, the High Council of Fairies. Holders of office in this department required qualifications in fairy medicine, nursing, and of course, fairy education. To hold the minister's office, they just needed qualifications in fairy politics and experience in any of the 3 highest departments. Jack was already destined to become the next agent of time for the FCTF. At the end of the day, he went to wait at Sirius and Starla's house until his parents finished work. He told them about his tour of the Fairyland Council offices and how amazing it was. At 6 o'clock, Milton and Illyria came to collect him and take him home. So that was Son of the Oldest Man. Stay tuned for the next story of this category, as stories coming soon, but not too soon. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a magical time.